want you to listen to what I'm about to say, think about it, and then reply. White America and everyone who aspires to join it has put us wildly close to potentially destroying 3 billion plus years of evolution in like an hour. And it's largely because of their anti-blackness, white Americans specifically. It's insane that we're not holding their feet to the fire enough. We are still babying this population in a way that is absolutely ridiculous. There's a non-zero chance, in fact, it's scary how far from zero the chance is, that Trump presses a button and drops a nuclear warhead on a foreign country. And this is not a first-time occurrence because if you recall, during his first presidency, there was concern amongst high-ranking military folks that Trump would press the button. Like, really think about that. Within an hour of a genocidal decision like that, life as we know it on planet Earth could just cease. The stress and anxiety that people are feeling all over the world, the increase in prices that people are feeling in regions like Southeast Asia specifically right now, it's all a direct result of the racism of white Americans and specifically their anti-blackness. And I guarantee you, every time I say anti-blackness in this video, the views are dropping directly after, because across cultures, non-black cultures within the context of the US, there's an express fatigue with hearing about anti-blackness. And the fact that people always want to stop at that juncture in the chain is why nothing ever gets fixed, because people, oh my God. When you strip away all the bullshit, Trump ran on racism and sexism, period. On the racism front, his go-to shtick was anti-immigrant, specifically anti-Latino sentiments, right? This is a chart displaying increases and decreases in immigration to the US over the last 200 years or so. Do you see this huge spike? Do you see this huge spike? Take a second to look at what they correspond to. Okay, good. It's from this point onward that we see anti-immigrant sentiments become a staple of American culture. Look at where this spike began. This spike begins where the Civil War ends, where our ancestors were freed. No more free battery pack to power this entire economy, north and south. So without delay, the doors are open to generate more expensive labor for capital holders. Moreover, the psychological wage that comes with whiteness and aspiring to whiteness is slightly diluted at this point, because despite the fact that blackness is still subcasted, black people are no longer inherently enslaved or enslavable, legally speaking at least. Many of those European immigrants who came into the country right after the Civil War weren't even considered white, but it's over the course of the next century and through a process of indoctrination, including adopting anti-blackness, that some of them become white. That becomes the template for the American dream. It's half-baked, right? They're selling it as they're baking it, but that's the template. Move here, drop your culture, move to the suburbs, adopt consumerism, become anti-black. These are staples. These are requirements in the rubric to become white. That's the glue holding it together as new layers are being added to this racial hierarchy cake that is America. Speaking in general terms, the white people in this country are the most ignorant of the socio-political reality of this country, and they're anti-immigrant and they're anti-black. And the immigrant population, speaking in general terms, is anti-black, right? It's layers of awareness and it's also layers of subjugation in terms of social status. I'm not talking about material, although it's often reflected in the material too. My point being, Trump runs on anti-immigrant sentiments and wins handedly with white Americans, and also sees a disturbing amount of success with Latino Americans. Understand that that ideological framework and all the mechanisms within it only are there because America was trying to answer the question, what are we going to do without slavery? What are we going to do if we have to stop treating, legally speaking, black people like animals? That's the basis. And now we are on the precipice of destroying the entire planet. And at 1,000,001 junctures, during the Reconstruction period, during the Civil Rights period, shit, during the Obama years, if you want to throw that in there, white people have had the opportunity to stop being so fucking ignorant. And they have chosen not to. And now we are on the precipice of the entire planet potentially being destroyed for a myriad of reasons, but the most pressing being nuclear warfare. And so for me, on a personal level, I no longer have the capacity for the fragility of white ignorance. Final point being, now that it's been made the entire planet's problem, the entire planet needs to understand this. The entire planet needs to shame white America into being better. Period. You're fucking up the species. That's without even touching the religious component of all of this.
You want to know why we fight Israel's wars? Because 82% of every sitting member of Congress today has accepted money from AIPAC, the American Israeli Political Action Committee, including Donald Trump himself, who has accepted over $250 million in the last 2 years alone. We need to abolish this government and start a new one.
Men are gonna go at war with the United States government. And that's crazy to say, right? The reason why I think that is because white people, you have become so blatantly racist because you can't take a dub. You can't take a W and just go home. For some reason, y'all won the election, okay? Donald Trump is in office. But I guess that was like the calling card for y'all to just come out and just be even more blatantly racist. Now, what does that have to do with white men going to war against the U.S. government? Republicans are probably not going to win the next election. You're probably not going to win. And you know what's going to happen once you don't win the next election? You're going to get more Democrats in office, the woke people that y'all say, and then they're going to start shoveling more people in this bitch, and they're going to be even more aggressive now than what they were before. Y'all see what happened when all those men, they went to go storm the Capitol. You saw that. Me personally, I've never voted. I'm registered to vote, but I kind of think it's a waste of time because they ain't really offering black people nothing. So why would I go vote? But the United States is falling apart because of you racist motherfuckers. That's why. If y'all would just know how to take your ball and go home, people wouldn't be out here talking about all these programs we need. You wouldn't have all of these politicians being able to pander to black and brown people's emotions due to the fact that you motherfuckers want to not only exclude people, y'all want to throw it in people's face at the same time. So the racism is just getting way more blatant. What do you think gonna happen? Cause and effect. Right now is y'all opportunity to have a Republican in office and show us change, show us a difference of who we thought you are, but y'all took it as an opportunity to just be more of what you already are. So do not be surprised if next election a Democrat win. Do not be surprised if more people come into this country who not supposed to be here. It's just going to get more aggressive. And it's going to be your own fault. It's going to be your own fault, Mr. White Man.
The truth is, no matter how they try to turn a lot of things, we already know the truth. Can you get? We already know the truth. No matter how they are trying to reclassifying things and doing things, thinking they are taking us backward, we already know the truth. And you know the funniest part is that you're planning or you're digging a pit for someone and you're falling inside that pit right before your eyes. That is exactly what is happening to a lot of palm-colored white folks, to put in quotes, out there. But anyways, I'll let you guys watch this video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share, and credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And with that being said, let's dive right into this video. I'll be back with commentaries.
I feel like the reason white people right now are referring to this period of time in America as being like 1930s Germany or like World War II or schmatzy and all of that stuff is because honestly, we weren't taught about anything else more in depth than World War II. We got to be the heroes in World War II. That's why we got to read the Anne Frank's diary. That's why we know, quote unquote, so much about the leading up to World War II. Everything else was glossed over in your public school education. The civil rights movement, like we love MLK, but we never learned about the Tulsa massacre, right? We never learned about what led up, like how bad things were leading up to the Civil War. Like we just like heard about the Underground Railroad and it was great. And, you know, like the women's right to vote movement, like, yeah, it was like, finally they did some marches and then they got their right to vote. We never actually read about all the people in our own system who are doing horrible things to fellow people. And right now we've all been able to live in this system, people that look like me specifically, with that bubble privilege, especially if you've lived in a community where you have zero proximity to anybody from any other marginalized group at all, which there are plenty of just white community. I'm living in just a plain white community right now. It's the most white bread place ever. And coming from a diverse city like New York City and having worked on 6 continents, this is crazy to me. But I realize that the people's experience and education is the reason why they can only refer to this as being 1930s Germany. And in saying that, we all need, if you look like me, we need to get educated, because ICE showing up in Minneapolis isn't because of immigration or race. It is because white people dared to disobey. And if you think that you're protected because you live in a white community, or, you know, you make 6 figures or even 7 figures, you're not, because you're not the right type of white. They are coming for you if you don't comply. The term white was made up and started being used regularly after the Bacon's Rebellion in the 1700s by white wealthy colonialists to get control of white poor farmers who were rebelling and setting things on fire. They were rebelling and setting things on fire because they were pissed off that they had to keep fighting natives for more land to farm, and they were barely making any money. And the white wealthy colonialists were like, oh man, no, we shouldn't be fighting. Like, we're both white. Like, more farming and my success is your success. Sounds familiar hundreds of years later, right? That trickle-down economy, or like, you know, buy my meme coin. When at the end of the day, they have used us to be obedient and to provide cheap labor. And the moment you stop being obedient and providing cheap labor, the moment you stand up to them is the moment that you are no longer white to them, because you never were the right kind of white. It's the same reason why when the Irish and Italian first came to the United States, white Americans did not want them here, because they did not want to melt into the pot. They held on to their belief system and their culture far too long. Same thing with Polish people. They were unwanted. They wanted generic white bread, no identity, and that's what we've been taught in school. We were always the hero. Nothing ever we did was ever wrong. And oh my God, now we're living in 1930s Germany. We're not. This has been happening to other communities in this country since the boat first landed here. And we've done it to all the indigenous people who have lived here before us. Like, we need to recognize that the only way we're going to get out of this is if we get a little bit uncomfortable and know that we weren't taught. And I don't fault you. I don't fault you for not knowing. This was the system that you were born into, and it created you and trained you and propagandized you to be this way. And now that it's happening to you, you're freaking out. Rightfully so. It sucks. But this has been happening. This has been our country this whole time. This isn't new. It's just new to people that look like me. And I'm sorry if this pissed anybody off. And I know I missed a lot of stuff in there. I'm just trying to talk to people that look like me to stop making references just to Germany, because honestly, this has been happening here for a very long time. And the only way we're going to get through this is if people that look like me start recognizing that this wasn't about immigrants or race. This was about wealth and power, and you are only as valuable to them in how much you will obey and how cheaply you will work. And until we recognize that the people standing to the left and right of us and beneath us are not the problem, this will never stop. And it'll get worse. And I don't care how white.
If you have not accepted Jesus Christ into your heart as your personal Savior, you better do it right now, because the apocalypse is coming. They've done said it. This war here is set to bring upon the apocalypse that was written about in the Bible. And for those of you that haven't read your Bible, which I know is most of you libtards, in Revelation, it says that Israel and Palestine, well, no, it wouldn't have said Palestine, because Palestine don't exist, but it said Israel will go to war, and there will be constant war over there, and then it will end in the apocalypse, right? But the thing is that won't happen unless we help. And because also in Revelations it said that to aid and abet Israel, a country will be formed in 1776 by people with wooden teeth and pantyhose, and they will rise up to be a superpower, and then and only then will the apocalypse happen. So it won't happen unless we do something to make it happen, which makes it feel less like a prophecy and more like an instruction. However, we have to do it. We must bring about the apocalypse so that all of us good, gay-hating Christians can go to heaven. Okay, so if you want to be a Christian, you need to do that right now. You need to shave that purple hair and dunk yourself into a tub and profess Him as your Lord and Savior and pledge allegiance to Israel, America, okay? And I'm ready to go to heaven. I've been ready. I can't wait for the apocalypse. And by the way, you know what? Also, they said in that right after the part about the horses and stuff, they said there'd be a 3-headed beast. Well, I just seen a girl with 2 heads in college on Instagram. Who's to say a third one ain't gonna sprout up anytime? It's coming, okay? And when I get to heaven, I can't wait, because they said anything you want, you could get. And God damn it, I've been pissed off ever since KFC took away chicken livers. Go dogs and get saved.
I don't know why America interferes in all countries and creates wars. Well, the basic reason is that our government is run by a bunch of money-grubbing elites, mainly bankers and shareholders. And these people stand to make a lot of money by controlling foreign countries. It used to be that countries like the US and UK would install puppet governments in foreign countries so that they could extract all of the resources. And that is still going on. However, it's even more parasitic today than what it used to be. Because these elites have realized that they can make more money by charging these other countries for debt and rent payments. So they buy up all the land and charge people rent and then trap them in debt and charge them interest. And this has turned the entire global economy into essentially a debt trapping scheme. And the countries who aren't part of this scheme are the ones that the US government tells you are evil and that we need to overthrow for freedom and democracy. But really, it's because these countries haven't allowed themselves to become puppets of Western banking interests. So that is essentially why America is interfering in all of these countries and creating wars. Also, yes, I broke my
To notice that more and more Americans are starting to come to the conclusion that America is not the hero, but in fact the villain. That America is one of the biggest bullies to ever set foot in society and civilization. That America it ain't shit, to be honest. Quite frankly, America is horrible. No. In all honesty, how many international leaders has the United States CIA overthrown, captured, held captive, tortured, sent into exile, executed, all in the name of greed? All in the name of greed, or just because? Just because you're doing something that I don't want you to do. Hell, currently right now in New York City, we have an international leader that was abducted and is now being held captive by President Donald Trump, the president of Venezuela, President Maduro. Literally in New York City prison right now. Why, you may ask? All because President Maduro wanted to eliminate, and he actually started accelerating the plans to eliminate Venezuelan oil sales being done using United States dollars. That's why. Libyan leader Gaddafi, captured, executed by American government. Why? Because he denounced the use of the American dollar. He didn't want to use it no more. Saddam Hussein, did y'all know that he was actually in control of Iraq's oil reserve? Yeah, that's the real reason why he was executed. Y'all know that America doesn't like nobody controlling they shit. Yeah, he had to go. Vietnam President Diem and his brother executed for disagreeing with the politics of the United States. Iranian leader Mohammad Mossadegh, I hope that I said his last name correctly. He was overthrown, taken out of power by the American government. Why? Because he nationalized Iran's oil. Guatemalan President Arbenz, removed, taken out of power by the American government. Why? Because he decided to impose taxes on American farms out there. Yeah. Now we're at Congo. Congo's Prime Minister, Lumumba, executed. I believe his body was put in acid so that it could decompose faster. All was left behind was his gold tooth. Why? Because he decided to nationalize their uranium. That's why. Cuban leader, Che Guevara, executed for his socialist policies. Now let's talk about Chile. Their president, Salvador, taken out of power, overthrown. Why? Because he decided to nationalize their copper. Ghana, President Kwame, exiled. Why? Because he decided to cut off Western banks. Grenada, General Hudson, exiled and given a life sentence for aligning with Russia, for not aligning with the United States. As an American, especially if you're a white American, you are the face of this fucking country. You are the cause behind all of this shit. What the fuck do you have to be proud about? What the fuck do you have to be proud about? For being the biggest fucking bully in all of humanity? At this point, can you guys even say that the British and everything else that the French and everybody else was doing during colonial times is really that fucking bad compared to the atrocities that the United States is still fucking committing? Still fucking committing.
They passed the final solution, and they're celebrating, counting them one by one. The colonial outpost of the United States is cheering for wanton slaughter, mass slaughter of the innocent, not just in their homes, not just in their schools, not just in their hospitals. Now they're coming for the detainees who have just spent what will be the last couple months of their lives being tortured. This is what the United States is. This is what the United States supports. This is what the United States was founded on. Our colonial project wouldn't learn to have destabilized the region, wouldn't learn to have torture, wouldn't learn to have slaughter if it weren't for the United States being founded on the very same, if not worse, much worse, being done to indigenous people and black folks enslaved at the time. This is everything we have always been and will be if we do not fundamentally reevaluate how we interact with the rest of the world. It is tragic to witness this and watch as capital just wins again at the expense of all human life. And you wonder why people put their heads in the sand instead. But that's the easy thing to do. That is the easy thing to do. And for every ounce of mental pain you feel hearing about horrific things like this, just remember people have felt this for a lifetime, and the physical pain has come with it. That's the civilization that's being extinguished.
Anyways, welcome back, and thank you so much for seeing all of that video. And the truth is, there is nobody that is not tired of the orange man. Let me say for few that still think that no matter what the orange man do, they will still support him. Let me just say, except for those fews. If not, a lot of people are tired. In fact, a lot of people are tired of fighting. They're tired of advising. They're tired of begging. They're tired of talking. They're tired of protesting. They're just tired for a whole lot. And this man is not someone that listens to people. You see, this is one thing that will always make me, this is one thing that will make me appreciate the South African president, okay? I know it's not related to this post, but I just want to bring out some example so that we can understand where we're going to. So recently, South Africans said they want Nigerians to leave South Africans, that they're tired of Nigerians owing businesses, blah, blah, blah. It's just a whole lot, okay? They're tired of Nigerians' crime, they're tired of Nigerians kidnapping, blah, blah, blah. It's just a whole lot, right? And South Africans took to their streets to run a protest. Do you know what the president did? The president never acted like he is not seeing or hearing what they are saying. The president spoke, and he spoke with action. He didn't say that Nigerians should disappear from South Africa. He didn't say Nigerians should leave totally, right? But what did he do? He said, if you must rent a house right now for any foreigner at all, now he now generalize it. For any foreigner, as a South African person, you have to make sure that their documents is complete, their paperwork are complete. Now, if you want to also rent a shop, same thing apply. If not, you're going to face the law. Same thing apply to people that if you want anybody to come work for you and the person is a foreigner, that person's paper must be complete, and you are going to be responsible for any single thing that will literally happen to that person. Like, is it in a bad way or in a good way? So if that person literally commits a particular crime, you'll be held responsible. Now, after saying that, a lot of South Africans were expecting him to say, now every single Nigerians pack out and go. But he didn't say that. But the spirit of the citizens were lifted to add it up to the fact that their voices was heard. Something was said. Unlike this orange man, the orange man wakes up one morning, makes decision without considering anybody. Without even thinking if these people exist. Without even thinking, okay, I think I'm serving a set of people. Okay, even if I don't want to listen to Black Americans, I should be able to listen to white folks. Because at the end of the day, they are also suffering. They are also facing every single repercussion. But this man did not. He did not even make a word or utter a word. The only thing he keep facing, and we continue to face, is this WAR with Iran. Even when we know that the Epstein file cases are lied down and the Epstein file cases are supposed to be sorted out, no. The only thing he knows he will do is what will please him. And that is why when people come up and call him dictator, he starts screaming, he starts lamenting, oh, they call me dictator, they call me dictator. But that's who you are. You don't take instructions. You don't even act as if you are consigned. You don't even act as if anybody exists. To the point that this man, if a journalist is talking to this man can literally insult them to their face. Nothing will happen. Like nothing will happen. So, in general, white people have literally caused a lot of damages. Honestly, they've caused a lot of damages, not only to America, but to every single people around the world. They've created those their lies that they started from onset, those their racism mindset, those their entitlement mentality, those their privilege nonsense. Till today, it's still what is affecting them. Their fatigue is so real. It's so real that you don't need to tell a blind man that a white man is standing close to you. It's as bad as that. That a blind man can close his eye and perceive the aroma of racism coming out from these people. These people have literally destroyed every single thing that the world is supposed to be enjoying, that the world is supposed to be living, that the world is supposed to say, okay, I think as at this point where the world is, we should be able to afford some certain things. But there's no country affording that right now. There is no country affording it right now. Every single country is going through one chaos or the other. Every single country is going through one problem or the other. Every single country is facing through one thing or the other that white people in America have created. They didn't only end in slavery. They didn't only end in segregation. They didn't only end in redlining. They didn't only end in every single thing that literally brought black people backward. Till date, they are still the major problem. Because why? They have never seen any other race than their race. They think they are superior. They think they know everything. At the end of the day, they are crashing the economy. Not only the economy, they are crashing every single hard work that we have literally tried to put in place. They have crashed every single thing that we have literally tried to fought for. They have crashed every single thing that a poor man cannot even survive anymore. A poor man cannot get just one square meal. And the good part I love about this orange man is that his people are feeling it too. Even his so-called white people that put him on that seat are feeling it. They are also understanding that right now, it is not only the black people that will face the repercussion of what you have created, but you also will be a partaker to it. And I'm so happy for them. Congratulations to every single one of them that refused to listen to black people, that decided that their racism is going to keep us in this level where we are today. Congratulations to every single one of them losing their farms. Congratulations to every single one of them regretting their vote. Congratulations to every single one of them going through every single phrase that black people are also going through. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in at this episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.